examples of problems that you've solved. You know, so you always think of the P chain, you know, that you do in your essays. You know, it's the same thing. It's the point, the explanation, you're giving the examples, all of that. It's the same thing in an interview. So, and that helps you to develop your answer and be the better candidate, the stronger candidate. Sinead, just be careful. Nerves maybe, but super fast. You know, slow it all down, because you need, as you saw, we were making notes, and if you're going 100 miles an hour, we're not going to get everything that you say written down, which means when we're going back to the process of who's the best candidate for the job, we won't necessarily have got all your evidence recorded. So just try and slow it down, and that allows your interviewer then to get time to think about what you're actually saying. So
that's fine.
Okay, just trying to give you advice for the future, and don't say like.
Okay.
And again, what I liked about yours was weaknesses. You actually turned it into a strength, and that's a good exam, or not, I was going to say exam technique, interview technique. Always a good, you know, if you're ever asked that question, pick a weakness that you can actually say, well, it's not really a weakness, it's a strength. You know, you're not going to say that, but they're reading it that way. So you did that quite well, so that was a positive. I think we're all thrown with a question. What was it? Was it what attracts you to this job? And you start talking about community and travel, and kind of thought, what? But Mr. Toner quite correctly pointed out that you were probably thinking of the whole overview, that it's a pie and it's a European waitress, and that you could be travelling, because we're a big company and we have restaurants all over Europe, that you could be. So, you know, so that, but maybe you need to emphasise exactly what you're saying there, you know, just to be very, very clear. Do you want to say anything?
Oh, jeez. No, I just thought they all performed really, really well under the pressure that they faced. They all spoke clearly. As you said about Sinead, a little bit too fast, but that's not too bad. I think you give good reflective answers, but as Mrs. Boston said, if you're only making 3 points in an answer, you can at least elaborate on those points. You know, if you're saying something, you know, go a little bit further and say a tiny bit more about that aspect of yourself that you can. It will help sell yourself. That's what you're really trying to do. So yes, absolutely. I think I was impressed.
And you think that most interviews would be 10 minutes minimum?
Yeah. And you'd probably face a few more people than us. You know,
and yes.
You'd have a panel.
You'd be very rarely have one person interviewing you. It would be a panel. So when teachers, for example, come in here to be interviewed, there's one of them right there, and there will be at least 6 people on this side of the table.
Yeah.
But for a waitressing job, it might not be 6, but it could be 2, possibly 3 people interviewing you, and they want you to demonstrate to them that you're going to be the best candidate for the job. And it was for head waiter or waitress. Again, you did touch on teamwork, but maybe because it's the head waiter or waitress, you could have emphasised maybe the leadership aspect of the role, and you know how you've been a leader in your experience, or maybe you know a team captain, or you know for sport, or you know anything like that, just to show that you have the skill set that we would be requiring if you were come to work for us.
In 1 minute, sum up what it was like for you as an experience.
Difficult. I was under pressure. I was actually so scared. I was so nervous.
Yeah, it definitely was a bit stressful. I think a real interview would be more stressful without knowing the questions. Like, we were given the time to read over them.
But from the point of view of a real interview, you need to anticipate the questions. So, you know, you need to be thinking, you do your research, and you can go on the internet and say typical questions asked at an interview for a head waiter. You know, and then prepare your answers. So you should always have some, in fact, a good level of preparation done going into an interview. You can't go in thinking, I don't know what they're going to ask me. You need to anticipate what they're going to ask you.
Yeah.
Hannah,
A learning experience.
useful?
Yeah. Definitely.
What would you do better next time?
Focus more on the skills I have and elaborate on them.
Did you just want to get out of there and get it over with?
Something like that.
I think they made very good with the eye contact.
Yes.
You know, whoever
Yeah.
was asking the question, you were really focused on us. But, you know, not necessarily, if I was asking the question, it wasn't always me. You were referring back to Mrs. Wilson and watching what she was writing, or, you know, if she was watching you as well. And also, even, we had one interview which started with a handshake.
Yes, which is good. I think that was you, Sinead, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Mhm. Yeah, that's good,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And again, when you are handshaking, and you did a good firm handshake, don't be doing a wee wimpy handshake, because that actually says a lot about your character. It doesn't mean anything if it's a wee
strong
wimpy
personality.
handshake. Yeah, and the eye contact's very good and important, even though, and in most interview situations, the interviewer will be taking notes, so you don't always get the full eye contact with them, because what you're seeing is their head as they're writing away, but you need to try and get that. And it's easier if there's more than one person interviewing you, because, like Mr. Cunningham said, you can move from one to the other, and that means you're not staring the person out.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes it easier for you as well. So intimidating them
Well,
into giving you the
interviewing panel,
job.
have you reached a decision?
No, we would have to
We
confer.
need
We
to do
have
it.
not had a chance to
Would you
confer
like
yet.
the interviewees to leave for a moment, and do you want to come
Yes,
back with a
okay.
Yes,
decision?
please.
Are you your apprentice?